This conference will
See,
now be recorded.
one thing I'll tell you guys, in the beginning of the training itself, if you're missing a live session, trust me, you will go off track very easily. And trust me, you are the person, who will not be attending interviews after the training, who will still be watching recordings, or who will not make any use of this training. It's still day three, man, and you're already missing the live sessions. Last batch I had more than 120 candidates, and at least 80 plus were there till the end of the training, and many of them got placed within 1 month after the training. You guys, I don't understand why from day three you're missing the training. For those of you who are missing, I'm just conveying this, and for those of you who are attending today, please make sure you stay in the live training till the last session. Whether you are not able to cope up with couple of topics or you're able to cope up, still stay back, because the continuity is very much important. If you miss a session, the next one becomes quite difficult for you. So just in case for unavoidable reasons, if you're missing it, make sure you watch the recording and again join back. Okay, don't tell me that, Nikhila, I missed last session, so I will not be able to understand today, so I'm not going to. Maximum try to attend as many live sessions as possible, because in live I can evaluate your answers. I can, ask, answer your queries. There's a live interaction between you and the trainer. It has a lot of impact. And in case if you're missing a session, please do update me in the group or in person. It's just, counting yourself how many days you're missing, because you are answering somebody, you get to know, how many sessions. So please be on track. Relying on the recordings is not going to help you. Recordings will stay in your system only. It is not going to be a part of your life. I mean, like, you will not become knowledgeable if you just rely on the recordings. I suggest recordings only for two types of people, people who are not in my time zone, whose timings are not at all syncing with me, and the other people, like, people who already know Pega, who are already working in Pega production support, or working for long time in Pega, but just want to recap on complex. Only for those people I suggest recordings, because they don't want to switch and start from the very basic level and discuss all these things. Others who are new to Pega, please make sure you be a part of the live training. Okay, and in case if you're missing it, just let me know that you're not attending today's session, so that I can, have a track of what you're doing. Okay, so some people have questions on yesterday's topics. Let me answer, let me have a quick recap of each of them. If you're not attending now itself, trust me, after 20-25 sessions, you will not, you're completely off the Pega training. And once the batch is completed, if your co-participant starts posting interview questions, and posting offer letters and all, you are the person who will feel very bad, because you just wasted all the 3 months of training. Never ever skip a session, guys. Hardly 3 months you have to wake up on your weekends. That's it. Okay, now just a quick recap of yesterday's topics. Yesterday we were talking about the security in Pega. Very important interview question. So, how do you secure an application in Pega from an operator? First thing is, we create operator IDs to restrict his access to certain applications. So, whatever applications you want access, you can add here using access group. So, you can add multiple applications here, or in the same application, multiple portals you can have here, like admin, manager, user. So, three different access groups you can give. Now, inside the access group, we maintain the application details, which project you can access. And remember, only one application you can mention here, multiple is not possible. And we can have multiple portals. Whichever is selected, that becomes the default portal. And then comes the roles. Roles are used to control the elements on the screen. So if a person has this role, give him this access, else don't give him. Like that, to control few things on the screen, we use roles. And then if you open the role, we have something called as role to object, which is an addition to the role. So in role to object, you are going to provide what environment level, like dev, QA, UAT, production, what he can do in each environment, you will mention here. And in addition to role to object, we have something called as privileges. Privilege is a rule level control. So inside the rule, under the security tab, okay, you will find privilege. So what PEGA will do is if somebody is trying to execute a rule, okay, and the person doesn't have that privilege, then he cannot execute that rule. Let me show you in, as I have showed you yesterday, in flow actions we have, in certain rules only we will have privileges. Not all rules will have privileges. See, if I give a privilege here, okay, if the person who is trying to execute this particular rule doesn't have this privilege, then he can't execute that rule. Let's say this rule gives me some secure data like the passwords, the bank balances, some secure data it is giving. Only authorized people are supposed to run this rule. Everybody should not run this rule. So we add a privilege here. So if you're trying to run this rule and you don't have a privilege, the data will not come, the rule will not execute. Okay. So like that rule level control we give using privileges. Somebody has asked me a question. Gautami, I hope I answered your question. Okay. So this is about what we have discussed yesterday. Now moving back, let's start with application in Pega. Okay. Now, what is an application? Application is nothing but the project that you have built, right? So Paytm is an application, WhatsApp is an application, hdfc.com, citibank.com, Amazon, Mintra, Flipkart, what are all these? All these are applications, right? Now let's talk in technical terms. What is an application in technical terms? Whenever you see this icon, it means you can open it. Let's open it. Okay. Now, if you open, what's the name of my application? EC. Okay. Now, what is this? Built on application. We'll come back to this. Built on application means my application is built on some application. We'll come back to that again. Now, what else do you see? You see something called as rule sets. Okay. So, one application is nothing but it's a combination of rule sets. Application is nothing but a combination of rule sets. Now, what do you mean by a rule set? Let's open that and see. Rule set is nothing but a collection of rules. You can see I have 801 rules in this. Okay, and what about this one? Like this one, I have 35 rules in this, and so on and on. If you open everything, so now what is a rule? First of all, what is a rule? Let's see what is a rule. All these are rules. You can see. Oh, sorry. Rule to object and all are not rules. Okay, for some reason they are listed here. Activity, connect SQL, data pages. Like this, you flows. All these are called as rules in Pega. Now let's understand what is a rule in Pega. See, a rule in Pega is nothing but a piece of code that you have written which will execute and give you some output. Okay, rule is nothing but a piece of code which you have written which executes and gives you some output. Function is a rule. Methods are rules. Flow is a rule. Report is a rule. Now, some generic rules which I'm just telling. Okay. I wrote a report to get me the, overall throughout the year, what is the profit and loss I want to see. So I wrote a report. So that's a rule. I have designed a flow which contains some shapes inside it. That's a rule. So rule is nothing but a piece of code which you have written which executes. Now, there are two types of things in Pega. One is called as rule, one is called as data instance. Now, whatever you have learned till date, operators, access groups, roles, privileges, role to objects, all these are not rules. They are data instances. Now, how do you know the difference between a rule and a data instances? See, data instances do not run. Okay. See, I don't run an operator ID. See, there is no run button. What is operator ID? It's just username, password, your phone number, your email ID. It's all about you stored in the database. It's not a rule, right? It's just information about you stored in the database. So it is not a rule. What is access group? What portal you can see, what application you can access, roles, privileges. It's just a row in the database. There is a table in the database which stores access groups. So it's just a row in the database. It's a data instance only. Similarly, roles, privileges, all these are just data instances. They are not rules. They don't run, okay? They don't run to give you some output. So all these are instances. Whereas what about this one? What about portal? Portal is a rule. It is not a data instance because portal means the web page which you have designed. So it is coding, right? You designed a web page for the end user, for the manager, for the developer, for the admins. You have designed some web pages. So you did some coding, which means it's a rule. Okay. So rules means which you where you have done some coding and it executes and gives you some output. Data instances means it's just a row in the database. It stores some information. So portal is a rule. What else rules we have so far? Application. What about application? It's not a rule, it's just a data instance. Okay, because you don't run application. Application is nothing but we mention what all rule sets are present inside that and some further information we store here. It's just a data instance, it's not a rule. Okay, only the places where coding is involved we call them as rules. Others are not rules, they are just data instances. And how can I easily identify whether it is a rule or a data instance? Simple. If you open any rule in Pega, let's say I'm creating a, okay, we'll see the existing ones. If you open any rule in Pega, this is a UI rule in Pega. Okay, you can see we have class name CL. Class name will be there. Okay, rule set will be there. Class name will be there. Whereas open any data instances in Pega, see they don't have class names. See, no CL, no class name, no CL, no class name, which means they are data instances. Whereas open any rule, open a flow. If you have class name, it's a rule in Pega. CL, class name, so it's a rule in Pega. CL, class name, it's a rule in Pega. Okay, so rules will have class names. Data instances will not have class names. Okay, so there are two types of things you will come across. One are data instances, one are rules. Rules means a piece of code which you have written which will run, execute, and give you some output. Data instances like operator ID stored in the DB, access group stored in the DB, roles, privileges, role to objects just stored in the DB. Okay, they will not run and they will not give you any output. Now, coming back. So what is an application? Application is just a collection of rule sets. Okay. Now what is a rule? Rule means any piece of code that you have written which executes and gives you output like flows, reports, decisions. Okay, just some generic things which you know I'm talking about. So they all will run and give you the output. Now what is a rule set then? See, rule set is just a collection of rules. Okay. So in order to build a project like Paytm, let's say I have created 150 rules. So all this 150 rules I will keep inside a folder. That folder is called as rule set. Okay. So whatever code I have written, I'm going to keep it in a folder. See, let's say Nikhila has given you 150 documents as a part of the training. Where do you keep it? You organize it, right? You will just create a folder called as Pega Training. Inside that, you will keep some folder called as documents, and you will keep all the documents inside that. You're not just going to spill them on your desktop like that, right? So, similarly, whenever you are building any project, we don't just throw the rules like that. We create a folder which is called as a rule set. Okay. So, rule set is just like a container which holds rules of your project. Now, you might be thinking, then why, Nikhila, so many rule sets? See, the better you organize, the better you can maintain in a longer run, right? See, let's say, for example, you have some PDF documents, you have some PPTs, some of them are interview questions, some of them are material. Like this, I have given you some of them are screenshots. Now, how do you organize them? You keep a parent folder called as PEGA training. Inside that, you will keep a small child folder called as material. One folder. You'll keep all the documents. Another folder called as practical screenshots. You will keep all the relevant documents. Another folder called as interview questions. You will keep all the relevant documents. So the way you are organizing it in your day-to-day life, same way we organize it in my PEGA project. So what we do is one rule set for X rules, another rule set for Y rules, another rule set for Z rules. Like this, we create multiple rule sets, like how you are creating multiple folders. Now, you might have a question, Nikhila, am I supposed to create rule sets? In real time, senior most people will create the rule sets. You are not involved in the rule set creation. You no need to do it in day to day life. Okay. In the beginning of the project, they will decide how many rule sets are required. And later on, you don't keep creating rule sets in day to day basis. Once in a while, very rarely. Okay, we will create rule sets. And again, that's going to be done by the senior most people in the team. They will decide, do we really need a new rule set for this? If they need it, they will create it. You can only create rules inside it. Any questions so far, guys?
Yeah, Nikhila, for the rule sets, right? Can you hear me?
You're audible, Karthik, yes.
Okay. Hey, yeah. We have several rules under rule set. So, is it rule set one? Can it access? Suppose if there is a need in the rule set two, is it is it visible? Is it accessible? Like you can
Yes,
reuse the
yes, it
rules.
is. It is,
Uh,
it is. Like how and all, I will tell you.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now
Okay.
going back again. So there's an important sequence here. So that answers your question, Karthik. So now you're clear, right? An application is PEGA is nothing but a collection of rule sets. And every rule set is nothing but it has a lot of rules inside it. And every rule is nothing but a piece of code that executes and gives you some output. Okay. Now, why are these rule sets having, they're in a sequence? If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's in a sequence. And this sequence matters. It's not just randomly added like this. There is an importance to the sequence. Okay. The rule set at the top is the child. The rule set at the bottom is a parent, which means, let's say this is you. This is your parent. This is your grandparent, their parent, their grandparent, so on and on. Now, you sitting here, you inherit the property of your parents, your grandparents, great grandparents, so on and on, right? Same thing is applicable here also. Rules which are in this rule set can trigger the rules which are in here, 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 and here. Rules which are in this rule set can trigger 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rules which are in 4 can trigger 5, 6, 7. Rules which are in 6 can trigger 7. Like that, they can trigger. Also, can they reuse? Can they reuse? Let's say there is a screen here, login screen, and my rule is here. Can I call the login screen? Yes, you can, because that's your parent property, right? You can call it. And I'm sitting here. There is some rule here. Can I call it from 2 to 5? Of course, you can call. It's like your great grandparent kind of, right? So you can call it. So they can reuse the rules from their parents. They can trigger the rules from their parents. So this sequence matters a lot. So don't put the rule sets randomly because there is a sequence. This is the innermost child and this is the topmost parent. So if you're creating a new rule set in your application, you should be very careful. Where should I place it? Here, 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 or here? Now, can you add rule sets in between? Of course, keep your pointer here and just click on the enter button or click on the plus icon. A new one can be added in between. You can add. Okay. So this sequence matters a lot. Topmost being the child and bottommost being the parent. And rules in this can trigger the rules in any of its parents or can reuse the rules in any of its parents. Any questions so far? People from non-technical background, feel free to ask me if you didn't understand anything. Yes.
Nikhila, I have a doubt here.
Mhm.
Uh, Here we have sequence of rules, right? So I have created 7 rules and I
Hmm.
added eighth one. But I want that eighth one as a child one. I mean topmost child. So can
You
we
can add it
move
here.
up and down?
Yes, you can move like this.
Okay.
You can move up and down.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Just now you told that it's in a sequence order. We cannot move it randomly. No, Nikhila.
Cannot move it in the sense I was telling you technical point of view. See, if you move it, the entire application architecture will differ, right? Suddenly, the great grandparent becomes your, a bottommost child. So you can't do it like just like that. You should think about a lot of things. So technically, I'm speaking. Just don't do. If you think it's valid to add it, you can do. But till day, this was the structure you're following. Suddenly, if you come and do this, all the rules will mess up, right? So that in that point of view, I was telling, don't just do it because this is a architecture. This is like a pillar of the project. You're disturbing the pillars of the application if you move them as you wish. What I have showed you is there is an option to move up and down if you want to move, but it's not. You should be careful because it's the pillars of the application you're disturbing.
Okay.
And that is the reason seniors are involved in creating rule sets and aligning the sequence. Juniors are generally not involved in this.
Okay. Thank you, Nikhila.
Okay. Yes, Karthik, you have something?
Yeah, Nikhila. So, the rules, can it be like a standalone rule without any rule set?
No, it's not possible. Whenever you create a rule in PEGA, it is mandatory to tag it to a class and a rule set. It's mandatory. You can't create any rule in PEGA without tagging it to a class and a rule set. See, if you try to create a new rule like this, you're always asked about three things. One, what is the name of the rule? You have to mention the name of the rule here. Two, what is the class? And three, your rule set. So these two are mandatory. You can never click on the create button without filling these two. It's like the parents of this rule. So you have to tag them. So a rule can never be an orphan rule without a rule set or without a class.
Okay. So, if I need a rule to be globally present across all the rules, so it
Keep
should
it in
be in
the
the
parent
bottommost.
rule.
Mm,
Right.
okay. Okay. Is there any access modifiers or something that you have for the rules?
Means what exactly you're looking for?
Is it like a okay, say the parent doesn't want to share a certain things with child. Is that
No,
possible,
no,
like
no. There's no,
private?
no, 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 not possible.
So everything that a parent has, sure can
Will
be
be inherited
inherited
by
by
the
the.
child, right?
Okay, okay. So
Nikhila,
there is no concept of private. Is it like?
Mm, no, no, nothing like that. So whatever is with the parent, automatically the child can inherit. Just
Is
if
it
you
like
want, you can
possible?
override it. Hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay. So a particular rule set only belongs to this application. It cannot be shared among the applications, is it?
Yes, it cannot be shared, but you can have built-on applications like you see this. We'll talk
Hmm.
about built-on applications.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yes, please. Somebody has a question.
no, the same question I have.
Okay. Okay. We'll come back to built-on applications. So you understood, right? So these are the applications we have, and these are the rule sets, and there is inheritance between the rule sets. Okay, so the topmost one is the child, and the bottommost ones are the parents. So child rules will call the parent rules, and they will work on them. Okay, now we'll come back to built on applications, guys. Now, if you come here, this is a rule set. As I told you, it's just like a container which holds rules inside it. Now, there's a very important interview question here. We have two types of validations in a rule set: application validation and rule set validation. So, this application validation is an option which came up in PEGA 8. In lower versions of PEGA, we used to have rule set validation only. So that is the reason it's a very important interview question, because it came up in it. People ask you what is the difference between application validation and rule set validation. See, in lower versions of PEGA, okay, if you're building any rule set, okay, we have to mention who are your dependents. Means, as of today, what is happening? If you just mention the sequence, based on the sequence, PEGA will identify who is your parent and who is your child. That was not the case in lower versions of PEGA. In lower versions of PEGA, this sequence didn't matter to us. Okay, then how do you mention, like for test case, EC, EC, and HDFC are other parents? How do you mention? So what I have to do is I have to go to test case. Okay, and okay, I have to expand this, and here I have to mention who are all my parents. What is it? EC, right? See, like this, I have to mention who are my parents. What is this number? I will come back to that numbers later. Okay, like this, we used to mention. So what are all your parent rule sets? We have to mention like this. So that was a difficult task, because for every single rule set version, we used to do this. Versions, I'll talk about it. But like this, for every single thing we have to do. Okay. So for every single rule set, you have to mention who are your parent rule sets. Now it's quite difficult, right? It's very difficult to maintain, configure also. So that is the reason Pega came up with a new concept called as application validation. Okay, so application validation means in the application rule form, you will mention the sequence. According to the sequence, Pega will decide, okay, this is the child and this is the parent. So now, no need to mention anything here. See, there is nothing to mention. Whereas if you keep it as a rule set validation, you have to mention. Now, this is outdated, this is deprecated. Okay, rule set validation was in the olden days, not today. Long time back, maybe 2 years back or 3 years back, it was there. Now nobody is using it. Then why do you still have this? Just for backward compatibility. If somebody is upgrading from Pega 6 and 7 to 8, they should have backward compatibility, so it is there. Otherwise, those who are using Pega, no Pega 8, nobody will use rule set validation. Because if you say rule set validation, for every single version, you have to mention the dependent rule sets. Okay, we are not doing that. We use only application validation, which means in the application rule form, you mention the sequence, and that tells who are the parents and who are the childs. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, Nikhila.
Mm.
There is a if we do different sequence in both the places. See, in the application validation, we are using test one as child one and test two, test three, like that. We have given the
Okay,
sequence.
one second. So,
Suppose,
see, one second. If you give rule set validation, Pega will not even consider the sequence here. Okay.
okay,
So, if you give application validation, you can't even mention any rule sets here. So, they
okay,
both will
that is a
never
radio button.
coexist.
Okay, okay,
Ah, right.
fine. Okay, okay, thanks.
That means rule set validation is a little bit typical than the application validation, right?
That is the reason it is deprecated, and the new one is application validation.
Okay, that means like if rule set validation means it go by line, right? Application
Right.
validation means it will check entire rule set and they will give final report.
Application rule set means they will go line by line. This is the child,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
parent, then grandparent. Rule set validation means
yeah. That's what,
this particular rule set is dependent on which all rule sets you have to mention under this, like this.
like as per my
Like
interpreter
EC is
and
going to
compiler.
call the rules of this, and this. So every
Yeah.
time you have to mention like this.
So each rule set we need to
Not each rule set, actually each rule set version also. So if you are from a technical background, you know about versions, right? So for every version, we have to do this, which is a difficult task for us. If you don't know about versions, we are going to talk about it in the next 15 minutes. I'll explain you. Okay. So it's a very important interview question, guys. Difference between application validation and rule set validation. So please remember that. Now, anybody has any other questions?
Nikhila, this is Pallavi. So
Yes, Pallavi.
basically, rule set is having a number of rules, right? So in the child rule set, any rule can call the any kind of parent rule from the rule
Yes,
set.
yeah,
Or layer,
yes,
or
yes,
layer.
yes. That's how it is, right? Child, parent and
Correct.
child. So child can call the rules of any of its parents. Two, three,
Correct.
four, five, six, seven. Anything it can call.
So parent can control its inheritance, or do they have an option? Like, for example, HDFC
Parent
can it?
can't control its inheritance.
Oh,
So whatever is present in any of its parents, automatically childs can inherit. You
they
can't
have.
say, these rules you can't inherit. No, that is not possible. They
Okay.
can inherit everything which is in the parent.
But the child rule can call any from rule from any parent rule set, right? There
Right.
is, yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, I see somebody raised hands. You have any questions, guys? Satish and Karthik? Okay, if no
Yeah, Nikhila,
questions,
I
let's
just
move.
want to confirm one thing.
Yeah.
In
Can you hear me?
Yes, let Satish
Yep.
complete Karthik. Yes, Satish, please go ahead.
yeah, in the rule set validation,
Mhm.
the inheritance priority will be coming from the rule set. It's not from the stack which in the application definition, right?
Yes, yes, right, right,
So the priority will be in this. The sequence will be from over here. It's not from the
right.
application. Ah,
Exactly right.
thank you.
Karthik, please go ahead.
Yeah. So Nikhila, you said that the previous versions have rule set based validation by default, and application
Hmm.
validation was introduced in
Eight
PEGA
version.
8. So rule set, yeah, yeah. So suppose if I'm moving an application from 6 to 8, is there any conversion or something that can do when I
Pega will not
application validation, will
automatically
it be auto
convert.
converted or something like that, or
It will not be
how does
auto
it
converted. See,
happen?
how will Peg, okay, it will not be auto converted because how can Pega decide who are your child rule sets and who are your parent rule sets? So Pega doesn't know your sequence, right? So Pega can't auto convert that. You may have like 7 or 10 or 15 or 20 rule sets in your application. So it is you who is responsible to decide the sequence. Pega can't decide the sequence, right? So when you're upgrading, it's
Hmm.
your responsibility to,
Hmm.
mention the sequences.
Okay. If I want, I can do that. If not, I can just retain the old rule set validation.
But how long will you retain? Starting from Pega next versions, you will not even find this radio button because this is now deprecated, right? Just for backward
Hmm.
compatibility, they are giving you. If you still don't switch from the
Hmm.
later versions, this option will be
Hmm.
completely unavailable. It becomes difficult for you.
Hmm.
So, as it is deprecated, we
Hmm.
should stop using it.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Now, let's move ahead, guys. So, this is about application. Application in Pega is just a collection of rule sets, and every rule set is nothing but a collection of rules. Rule means any piece of code which you have written. Okay. Now, we'll come back to dependent applications. I just want to dive deep into the rule set. So, in the rule set, you have something called as versions. Do you see? Okay. Now, what exactly is a version? See, let me open the document. I was just doing it. Now, what is the rule set version? See, rule set version is basically just a number, okay, which is given to a rule. Now, why should you give numbers to the rules? Simple, guys. See, let's say, for example, I- take an example of WhatsApp, okay? So, generally, when they came up with WhatsApp, the initial is version 1, later on, version 2, now version 3, and so on and on. So, every application you use will have a lot of versions, Okay, why do you have versions? Because they are building something new day by day. So they have versions. Like version 1 don't have X option. Version 3 has X option. Version 2 didn't have Y feature. Version 3 has Y feature. So every new version is nothing but an enhancement, right? Now why are they giving versions? Why can't they build everything at the same place? Why version 1, version 2, version and so on? Logic is simple. After keeping version 3 in the Play Store, and once everybody starts using it, let's say they got some issues. Okay, so now they want to roll back to version 2. If you have version 2, they can roll back. If you do all the coding in version 1 itself, how can they roll back, right? So something wrong went with your application. All the users are complaining, what happened to WhatsApp? It's not working now. Many people are even uninstalling WhatsApp. So they want to stabilize. So what will they do? They will again give version 2, and they will fix the defects in version 3, and they will come back later. So that is the benefit of having versions. Like every new feature you keep it in a new version, and if something goes wrong, you always have a rollback point, backup point you have. So you can back up to version 2 or version 3 and something like that. Okay, that's the importance of versions. Similarly, in Pega also we have versions. In Pega, the versions are like this: NN-NN-NN. Okay, so NN means number hyphen number hyphen number. First number is called as major version. Second number is called as minor version. Third number is called as patch version. So if you look at this, NN-NN-NN. Every rule set will have multiple versions. Okay, 01 hyphen 01 hyphen 01 and so on and on we will have. We'll talk about the numbering and all later. So the reason we have versions is, let's say today the initial coding of the application I have done it 010101. I have built 166 rules. I launched my application in the Play Store or iOS or whatever it is. I launched it, or on my domain in Google. I have launched it. Let's say on the web I have launched it. Now all good. Everything is going good. Awesome. I want to introduce some payment gateway in my project. So I have to enhance my project payment screens. So I have built 6 new screens for credit card, debit card, UPI payments. I have introduced 6 new screens. No, I don't want to keep it in 010101 version, because if something goes wrong with my payment gateway code, I should have some backup point, right? So what I will do is that new screens, I will keep it in 02 version. Guys, no need to copy all the 166 to 02 again. No need. Whatever new you are building, you just keep it in 02. Okay, you have this parent child relationship, right? So automatically Pega will pick the rules from the parent version 010. It will pick, no need to worry. Okay, so we have kept the new rules here. Okay, now let's say I got a defect. It is now on the web, it is hosted. I got a defect. It's a minor defect. If it's a minor defect, what can I do? Out of the 6 rules, whichever rule is having that issue, I will keep it in 03. I will fix it and I will deploy it. Okay, again after deploying, I got another defect. Again, I will keep it in new version, fix it and deploy it. Now I got a new enhancement. Keep it in the next version, do it and deploy it. Something went wrong with my application. Everything became a mess. You can just delete this new version. Automatically, all these will be available. So it's a backup copy. Okay. So the best part with versions is just a backup copy. Okay. See, even when you create, what do you say? Let's say you're preparing a PPT. What do? You will just first draft it, one copy, then you will add templates, add enhancements, images, and all, another copy. So, generally, we do multiple copies, right? Just a backup. Similarly, you will store one on your desktop and one maybe on the cloud, so that when you're giving PPT, if something goes wrong, you always have a backup copy. The same way in real time, also, whenever we're building anything, we always have a backup copies, so that if something goes wrong with the new enhancement, we have a backup copy. So that is the use of versions in Pega. The use of versions is, first you will build a project in 01 version. Enhancement or defect 02. Enhancement or defect 03. Something went wrong with 03. Remove 03 from the application. then it will behave as it was in 02. A stable version will come. Like I have told you in the WhatsApp example. WhatsApp version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. Version 4 was a big flop. So remove version 4 from the Play Store. Let people use version 3. So that's how we use versions in Pega. Any questions so far? Okay, perfect. Mhm.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Uh,
You are audible.
Yeah, so I was asking like there will be a number of versions in a real time for any application. So eh, eh, we will be given any options of why the reason these rule set was created, like new versions was created. Is there any
Every new
description of this?
enhancement, every new defect, you have to create a new version. No doubt in that. And generally, you see here it is written description. So project to project, company to company, this description varies. Some people will give the story number or the requirement number or the defect number. And some people will give the release details. Okay, so we will write down here
These
in the
are
description.
just a number, right? So any detail
You here
from
only you can write detail. Suppose I'm working on requirement number 1, 2, 3. Okay, we call them as stories. So I just say story 1, 2, 3, and you can write in one word. You will write. You will not write lines and lines. Let's say it is all about payment gateway. Payment gateway. That's it. So if they want to know more about the story, they can open the story and check. Stories are stored in a different tool. Jira, Rally. They can check there.
oh, okay.
Any other questions, guys?
yes, Nikhila. So
Yes, please
this
go on.
yeah. So this versioning, these things, can I relate them as like like SVN or something? So you're just committing the codes here.
Yes, yes, exactly right. So we just like how you do it in other like .NET or Java and all, we have everything within Pega. Here only we will create versions. Here only we will check in or commit the code. We do everything here.
Hmm. Okay, so if we disable, then it is like we are doing a rollback of this
There's no
previous
option to
commit something.
disable. Simply you have to delete it. There's no disable. See, something went wrong with 03. I just
Mhm.
want to roll back. Okay, you have a delete button here. You can delete it.
Okay, so there's
If
no
you
way to reinstate or something after deleting.
deleted rules, if you want, you can restore. There's an option. There's a place where you will find all the deleted rules. So if you want, you can restore them.
And it will come to the same.
Same place. Yeah, same
Mhm.
class, same automatic. Look, where it was the same place. Like you
Okay.
deleted something, it went to the recycle bin. You restore, it comes to the same place, right? The same way it comes to the same place.
Okay. So this one is like in a sequence, right? Like 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. So
Hmm.
suppose I have deleted the 0, 4, and maybe I went until 0, 8. I feel that I need something from the 0, 4 here again. So if I do a restore, it will not actually replace the intended rules that are in 08.
It
It'll
will
just
not
be there as a
replace, it
part
will
of the
just get
history.
appended. Right. It will just get appended. If you are restoring it, it will just get appended to it.
So if there is any conflict between the 04 and 08, how do we resolve it? Is it within the pega we can do it?
So there will not be any conflicts. Why there will be conflicts? It's just an enhancement, right? See, in 01, I have a screen which says proceed to payment. In 02, in the same screen, I gave a UPI option. In 03, in the same screen, I have coupon code option. It's just an enhancement or a defect fix, right? Why there will be conflicts?
Suppose say if there is a rule, I'm checking for a particular validation, and then I'm maybe I in version 4 I allow two rules like
Okay,
maybe
one
like
thing, Karthik. See, if the same rule is lying in n number of versions, PEGA always picks the highest copy of that rule. PEGA is not bothered about the lower copies of the same rule. So they don't
Oh,
even
okay.
consider the
Mm,
lower copies. So it doesn't matter to us
okay. Yeah.
because every rule will be lying in n number of versions. Why will Pega consider all the lower versions? If you have higher version, you should look for higher versions only. Why the lower versions again? So we don't even check that.
Mm, so 04 will not actually, I mean, if there's a conflict, it will just, I mean, maybe for the 04, I have admin and developer to access, and in the 08, I have only developer to access per
Pega
se.
always
So it
picks the
will just
highest copy of each
highest one.
rule. So whatever is in
Mm,
04, that is only considered.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Again, and Miss, I'm going to explain that more in detail in the next few minutes.
Okay.
Yes, Pallavi, you have something?
So, Nikhila, for version number one, there are 166 rule, and as you
Hmm.
said, in number two, six rule have changed. So those are reflected in version two. So what happened with
Right.
remaining 160? Uh,
See, okay, let me answer this, guys. See, guys, you can see here, right? Here I have 166, here I have 6, here I have 1. Again, here I have 2 noted here. See, please understand that whenever you create a new rule in Pega in a new version, Pega will only consider the highest version of each rule. Okay, let's say I have designed, take this, let's say I'm just taking Paytm every day almost. Okay, okay. So if you see the Paytm screen, let's say for example, in version 1, I have designed only this part. In version 2, I added this blue header. In version 3, I added this white header. So same screen is lying in three different things. So what Pega does is, first of all, what is the screen name? Let's say Paytm home screen is my screen name. Pega will check what is the highest version of Paytm home screen. This is lying in 01, 02, 03. So Pega will pick 03 only. 01, 02 are not even considered. Okay. Now you have built this particular screen. Okay, this postpaid screen was built in 01 version. As of today in my project I'm having three versions, 01, 02, 03. But this particular screen was built in 01. After that you didn't do any enhancement. So for this particular screen, how many versions are available? Only one version. So Pega will pick it from 01. So what I'm trying to tell you is every single rule, it is not required to move to the highest versions. Okay, so initially I created 166 rules. Out of 166, only 6 rules needed modification, so only 6 you kept here. Out of 6, only one rule needed modification, so the only that one you kept here. Okay, now what about the rest of the rules? Pega will identify how many versions are there for each rule, and out of them whatever is the highest version, it will execute that. So it is not required to carry all your old rules to the new version. Okay, so here I have 208. Why only 383 here? All 208, no need to copy here. If you want to copy and change something, you copy it. Otherwise you don't copy it. It's not mandatory to copy the old rules to the new version, because Pega will know for which rule what is the highest version, and Pega will execute. So no need to carry them to the higher versions. Okay, X rule, it is lying in 01, 03, 05, 010 versions. Pega will execute 010. Y rule is lying in 01, 03, 05. Pega will execute 05 version. So every rule will have its own highest versions. Okay, you need not worry
So,
about it. Don't copy the old rules to the new versions. Just only copy
so
the rules
any
which
drawbacks in
require
the previous rules,
changes.
just we are going to
Hmm?
change those rules only, right?
Exactly. So whichever rules
Yes.
require modification, only that you will copy to the new versions. No need to
So
carry
remaining
everything. Let's say,
everything.
let's say out
That
of
remaining will be
166,
same.
the remaining will lie in the old version only, right?
Yes,
See,
yes,
let's say
yes,
out
yes.
of 166, none of them required a change. None required a
Yes,
change. I had a new enhancement. Six rules, new rules are kept in 02. That's it. Later on, after 6 months, some rule required an update from this 166. So then you copy it to this version and you make the changes. Okay. So when you want a change, you will save as it to next version and you'll make the changes. Otherwise, no need to move them to the new versions. Is it clear, guys? Anybody has any question? And somebody has a question in the chat. How many rule sets we can have? We can have as many as you want. There's no limit. as many rule sets as you want, as many rules as you want in each version. There's no such limit. Yes, Vishal, they are supporting multiple inheritance. Every rule set is having multiple parents, right? Parent, its parent, its parent, its parent, and so on.
Nikhila, same syntax for rule version also. Can you show us the rule version once? These are rule set version, right?
Okay, we'll do that. Rule will have versions. Let me complete this. Okay, we'll do that. So you
Okay,
understood that
Nikhila.
the ruling, so the numbering is like this, guys: major, minor, and patch version. So what do you mean by patch? What do you mean by minor and major? We'll talk about it. Okay. So first of all, when you're
Nikhila,
building a project in Pega, let me complete it, guys. I'm in the middle. Okay. Let me come. You can ask me again. So whenever we are building any project in Pega, first of all, we will create the initial version 010101. This is the syntax in Pega. We have to follow that 010101. Okay. So we create the rules in 010101, and then we will build the code. We will deploy it to QA, UAT, SIT, and production. Some people may or may not have SIT. Then, now I got an enhancement. So what will I do? I will create my new enhancement in 02 version. I will deploy the code to same QA, UAT, SIT, and production. Now, here, if I get any major issue, okay, I can simply delete 02 and use my application as it was earlier. So I have a rollback option now. Okay, so that is the reason we create version, so that if something goes wrong, you will have a backup point, a rollback option. Everything went well, no issues. You got another enhancement or a defect fix. You create 010103 and you make the changes. If you got any issue here, you can simply delete 03 and use the application till 02 as it was earlier. Okay, so like this, we keep on creating version 04, 05, and so on and all. Till where will you create? Till 99 we will create 010199. Okay, after 99, what are you going to do? You're going to increment the minor version, that is a center number. So after 99, it is 0102, center number is getting incremented. Okay, and so on and all till 99. After 99, 03, so on and on and on, we will keep incrementing. Okay, so the limit is 99. Okay. And when you increase major versions, you can also increase major versions like this, the first number, and you can do it. And always remember, Pega always picks the highest copy of each rule. Some rules will be lying in 01 version, some rules will be lying in 99 version, some in 30 version. Pega always picks the highest copy of every single rule. So all rules will not have the same highest copy. Each rule will lie in different versions. Any questions so far, guys? I will tell you the difference between major, minor, and patch versions. But so far, do you have any questions? Okay. Can do I need to follow the sequence in creating versions? Can I leave some numbers in between? Yes, of course, yes. It's not required to follow the sequence. Okay, it's not mandatory to follow the sequence. I create. You can see here after 0104, I created 99. After 99, I incremented the middle number. So it's not mandatory to follow the sequence. Okay, you can create whatever you wish, but generally in real time we follow sequence. Okay, there's a reason. I'll tell that after a break, why and how we follow sequences, how do you have deployments and all. We'll talk about it. Any questions so far, guys? If an enhancement is not working, where will you find out the error? See, if let's say for example you have built a Paytm payment gateway. It's not working. If it is not working, you have to debug it. Where do you find out the error means? I'm going to teach you some debugging tools. We have to do trial and error. You have to try to replicate the issue. You have to use the debugging tools and you have to figure out why it is not working. And you don't test that in production. You will try it in LLE. In LLE means lower level environments, means dev, QA, UAT, you will try. Okay. Using those debugging tools, you will try. There is no certain place, exactly the details will be found here. No. You have to debug why this is not working, because you know the code, you have to debug it. So how and all you will learn when you start the practicals. So next session we'll start practicals and then you can learn. Okay guys, please take a break for 10 minutes. We will connect back again at 8:20 and we'll resume the session. Take a break.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, let's resume. Just a quick recap of what we were discussing before the break. Sharing my screen. Allow me a minute. I'm just waiting for GoTo to respond. It's not letting me share. Okay. Just a quick recap of what we were discussing before the session. We were talking about rule set versions. Okay. The rule set versions is every every application in Pega is made up of a lot of rule sets, and every rule set will have a lot of rules, and every rule we will keep it in multiple versions. The reason is like this, in every version we come with a new enhancement or a defect fix, and if something goes wrong and if you want to roll back, you want to have a backup copy. So that's the reason we create versions. And in Pega we follow standard NN-NN-NN, major, minor, and patch versions. So we start with 01, we go till 99. After 99, we'll increase the middle number. And so on and all, we keep increasing. Okay. And Pega always picks the highest copy of each rule. So it is not necessary that all the rules should lie in the same version. Okay. Some rules will be in 01, some in 02, some in 33, some in 43, some in 99. Okay. Depending upon your requirement, you will clone the rules and you will make the changes. So it's not necessary to have it them all of them in the same version. Now, what is the importance of this major, minor, and patch version? See, in day to day life, as of today, every day, whenever you get a new story or a new requirement or a new defect, we take a new version. Now, okay, suppose Nikhila is working in 010101. Some other story is being worked by Rakesh. He will work in 02. Some other story is being worked by Anusha. She will work in 03. Somebody is working 04. That is one way. Okay, in some projects we follow like this. Everybody will have their own version. In some projects it is different. See, we have something called as release. Okay, for those who are non-IT people, I'm talking to them guys about releases. Those who are IT, you know about release. Now, what is a release? Let's say we have built a new enhancement called as payment gateway. They can pay through credit card, debit card, net banking, and all. Now, when are you going to push this code to production? Means when are you going to give this code to end users for using it? Okay. Suppose I started working on my story in January. Okay. So my entire team is going to sit and decide. And we'll have some meetings, guys. We'll talk about all that towards the end of the training. So they will decide when these all stories have to go to production. So let's say it has to go to production in March. So we call it as March release. It is going in April release, May release, June release. Release means on that day, multiple teams will sit together and they will push your code to production, and they will do one quick round of testing, and they will make sure nothing is breaking in the application because of this new change. And if something is breaking, all the teams will sit and roll back the code, and then that will be a big escalation, and what not, everything will happen. So release means when are you planning to give this code to production? Okay. So in certain companies what we follow is all the stories and all the defects which are planned for March release have to be done in this version only. All the stories and defects which are planned for April version should be done in this version. So it's like group effort. Okay. So me, Anusha, Rajesh, Sai, all together, who all are working for March release stories. Although my story is different, Anusha's is different, Sai's is different, Whatever, all of us are going for March release, right? So everybody will use one version. My code will be there, Sai's code will be there, Anusha's code will be there in the same version. Okay. So every company has their own standard, guys. In some companies, all the stories and defects of one release will be in one version. In some companies, my story is here, her story is here, his story is here. All of us are going for March release only. Okay, so we follow that. And in my personal opinion, it's always better to have separate versions, guys. Don't club everything in one version. The reason is, suppose I, Sai, Anusha, Rajesh, whatnot, whoever, we all have done the code changes in 02 version. Okay, and all of us push the code to production. Unfortunately, Sai's code got some issue and we had to roll back. Now, just because of that person's issue, entire version will be rolled back. Means my changes and the rest of the people's changes are all rolling back just because of this person's issue. So it's not good, right? So instead, if you used a different version, if Sai got issue, only Sai's version will be rolled back. Rest of the people's code will stay, right? So that is the reason I always prefer to have separate version for each story or each defect rather than using the same common version for a particular release. Okay, but company to company it differs. However, you can suggest like this. Okay, it's better to have separate version. So if the something goes wrong, only that person's code will come back, not everybody's code. Any questions on this? Okay, so that is what a release is. Release means the day on which you're going to give your code to the client or to finally the production you're going to keep. Okay, so like this, we keep creating versions. Now, as per theory, first number is called as major, second number is called as minor, third is called as patch. Okay, so according to the theory, if you have minor defect fixes, you should increase the patch number from 01 to 0 to 02 to 03. If you have minor functionality changes, the middle number should be increased. If you have a drastic change in the application, major should be increased. But in real time, every day, whenever you get a no story or new defect, we are increasing only the patch versions. We are not touching the minors and majors. Okay, in certain scenarios we do. When and what, I will talk about it towards the end of the training. But in day-to-day life, Nikhila got a story 02. Karthik got a story 03. X person got a story 04. Like this, we just keep taking each single version and we start working. Okay, we are not bothered about the minor versions increment in day-to-day life. So we keep taking and we start working on the stories. Okay.
Nikhila,
Now, yes, please.
actually there is a major version 01, minor version 01, and I have given 01, 02 as patch versions. And then I used 99 as patch version.
Hmm.
Here you mentioned 02, 03, 04, and 99, right?
Yeah, as I told you, see, sequence doesn't matter. Okay, no need to
Huh,
follow the
sequence
sequence.
doesn't matter. Huh, that is what. After 99, can I use again 05?
You can use.
Okay.
If you create 05, it will come after 4, it will come. Okay, now let's talk about this also, guys. So, why are we missing some versions in between? Why are you intentionally leaving some versions in between? There's a reason. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm working for March release. I'm in January today. I'm working for March release. Now, what will I do? I will start my coding and all. Let's say suddenly there is an issue. There is a big defect, and the clients want this to be resolved immediately, high priority. Okay. Now, let's say I'm using 04 version for my March release. Now, client wants something to be a defect came and he want to do it immediately. Now, let's write it down in any document, then we'll understand. One second. Okay, so let's say Nikhila was working on 010104 version. I created some rules for March release. Okay, now suddenly there's a high priority defect. Okay, and client wants this to be fixed right away. So what will I do? I will create my code in 05 version. That's how you do it. Next highest version you will do, and you will do the defect fixing, and you will push it to production. So this is already in production now. Okay, but where is this code? This is still in the development. Still coding is in progress because this was supposed to go in March, right? And this already went in January because we had a high priority defect. Okay. Now what happened? I did all my coding. Okay. In the month of March. In the month of March, I deployed my code. Which version? 010104. Okay. Now look at this. 05 went in January. 04 went in March. Okay. 04 went in March. 05 went in January. Okay. Let's say in this screen you kept a new option you gave three radio buttons. Let's say otherwise you gave a new calendar control. Okay, you gave a new calendar icon on the screen. Okay, this is the latest code, right? March is the latest code, and this is January. Okay, in January they have to enter date manually. They have to enter date. There is no calendar. So if they have to manually enter date, the problem is some people are entering 4 ymdd. Some people are doing dd hyphen mm hyphen yy. Everybody is following their own style. It is getting difficult for the developer to manipulate that date. So what we did is let them take a date from the calendar. So we gave this defect fix. Now which code will run in production? According to PEGA, the rule which is in the highest version will be picked, right? Which is in highest version? 05. So this will only be picked. Your code will not get executed. Why? Your code was deployed in March. Latest deployment. This is old code, January deployment. And what is the issue? Version is the problem. So people who are in deploying in March should use the latest version. People who are deploying in January should use the old version. Did you understand, guys? Is there anyone who didn't understand? The problem here is March people took old version, January people took latest version. So my latest code is not getting picked because my latest code is an old version. So that is the reason in real time, when we are building projects, we leave some versions in between. Like for example, if I'm building code, okay, after let's say I was in 0101, okay, after that I will leave some versions in between and I will take 04. After that I will leave some versions in between and I will take 08. Something like that we will leave in between. How many numbers to leave depends on your team. Okay, not everybody is going to leave. Okay, some people will do that. The reason is this was Jan release. Okay, let's say this is Jan release. After Jan release, let's say my next release is in March. Okay, what if some defects come in between? If some defects come, we will give the defect fix in 02 version and 03 version. Okay, if they don't come, that's okay. We are leaving the versions, no problem. No problem, just leave the versions. There's no problem. If defects come, you can use this at least. Okay, similarly, after 4, let's say again your next release is in July. What if some defects come in between or some high priority stories come in between? I can use 5, 6, 7 versions. What if there is no high priority story or no high priority defect? That's okay. You will leave the versions, no problem. They will just be left like that. You are not going to use them anytime. Okay. So just to, reserve some space. It's like, let's say, what if, we lose our job today? I keep some bank balance as a backup, right? So similarly, it's like a backup. What if this high priority things come up? I will have some space to utilize them. What if the space is also used? Let's say 0103 is used. I got another defect. What should I do now? Nothing. What you have to do is whatever code is there in 04, remove it, move it to 05, and you use 04. Okay. But sequence is very important. If you are going in Feb release, you should take 02, March release 03, next release 04. So sequence matters, guys. Okay, you can't take the highest version and go first. No, lower version should go first. 03 first, then 04, then 05, then 06. Okay, it can't be like now 05 went and tomorrow 04 will go. No, that is not the case. That should not be the case. Okay, as per your release dates, your sequence numbers should go lower versions first, higher versions later. Okay, so that is the reason in some good projects you leave some empty versions in between so that just in case something happens, I can utilize those versions. Okay, and one important real-time thing is generally 99 versions are considered as dummy versions, temporary versions. In any Pega project, you will never see people using 99 version for code deployment. 99 is like temp, dummy kind of thing for us. So if you want to do any dummy things, we generally do it in 99. Even though I'm still in 01 or 02, I can use 99. We never deploy 99 versions. I don't know, that's like a standard for us. 99 we never deploy, and that's like for all dummy things, temporary things we are doing, trial and errors we are doing, we do it in 99. Not only 0101 99, 02 99, 03 99, any 99, it's like dummy. You can use trial and errors, in that 99 thing you can do. And always remember, highest version of the rule will get picked. Lower versions will not get picked. Any questions on this one?
Yes, Nikhila, Karthik here.
Sure. Yes,
So,
ma'am.
uh, yeah, so you say that 99 can remain as a dummy version,
Hmm.
and suppose say I'm working on 04. Uh, can I pick like which one has to be deployed? So if just correct me if I'm wrong. So if we have 01 until 04. I can choose to deploy 04,
Yes,
and
yes.
after some. Mm,
You can choose to deploy. See, let's say 02, 03, 04, all three are for March release. Okay. Now 03 is
mm,
being worked by you and 04 by me and 02 by somebody else. Now you are done with
mm,
your coding. You want to deploy to QA, UAT for testing. So why will you wait for
mm,
me and somebody else? You will deploy it. So you can deploy it
mm,
on your own. But only thing is like on day of production, we all will deploy together. But dev and QA, you will deploy whenever you are done because they have to start testing, right? If all three of us dump at the same time, it's a overload for them. So you're done, deploy it.
mm,
They will start testing. I'm done, I will deploy. They will start testing. So one after the
mm,
other, we will deploy.
mm. Okay, okay. So it is just I can say something like whichever version is deployed, that will be considered. I mean, among those.
Highest version, yes,
Okay, okay. So this one will just remain dormant until it is deployed, and the
exactly.
same, yeah, and this same version, it can be like we can pick for each environment which version has to be there.
Yes, right.
And the versioning will be the same for across all the
You're deploying the
the
same thing,
application.
right? You're deploying the rule set, so it remains the same. See, whatever code is there in dev, only you deploy to QA UAT in production. So they are all your replicas only. Why will it be different?
Okay, so the
We
code base
don't
is same,
open
only environment. Okay.
See, we don't open the code and update them in QA UAT in production, right? We never update them. Whatever is there in dev, you just push it to QA, push it to UAT, push it to production. So whatever I
Hmm.
have, documents I have, I send it to you, you send it to somebody else, and somebody else. It's like same copy is going. So why will they be
Hmm.
different?
Because I'm just trying to connect the dots. We have given based on like no for a certain operator we have access to Dev Studio in UAT and in production like that, right? So if it is a Dev Studio, then obviously they can make changes, right?
Even even if they're in developer portal in production, they can't make changes. Like you saw yesterday, I have removed the privilege to create operators and access groups. So when I tried to do that, it was throwing me an error, right? You don't have the privileges. Similarly, in real
Hmm.
time, we generally disable the save button, delete button, and all for developers also. So they will not even
Hmm.
see this button, so they can't do anything. Just only read only they can do.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, suppose if I have a edit access in UAT, and if I'm changing something, so I'll have to if I
First
make
of all,
a change
even
and if
if
the
you
version.
have anything, okay, first of all, you're not supposed to do. Even if you have access, you're not supposed
Mhm,
to do. Okay,
mhm,
in certain projects, it's a very strict rule. If you do such things, you may even get escalated because the code should be in sync, right, in all the environments. If you start doing
mhm,
something in QA and something in UAT and it is not in sync with dev, it's a problem, right? If all the full environments are not in sync, should never do like that. Even if you have access, you are not supposed to do.
mm. It'll have like a downstream impact. Like if I open a version 04 and I edit it in UAT and I save it, it will be reflected in all the different.
It will not.
Uh,
Why will it reflect? See, every server is a different machine, right? If I make changes in my machine, why will it impact in your machine? So it's not going to.
mm, okay, I'm just okay.
No, they are
I'm
all
just
four
confused
different
with the.
servers. They're
Oh, so
different
these are all
servers
different
completely.
branches. These are different branches, we can say, or something like that.
No, they are not branches. Which one you're talking about? DevQA, UAT, or
Yeah, yeah.
Rulesets?
Okay. For rule sets, we have like a 01 until 99, something like that. And in dev in UAT and then production, we maintain separate versioning, right?
Whatever is there here, that only you will deploy. But see, so let's say 01 and 02 coding is completed. You keep it to QA. Testing is completed. UAT testing is completed. Production. 03, 04, and 99 are still work in progress. So they will be only in dev environment. They will not be present in QA, UAT, and production. Right? So only if they are completed, you push them. If they are not completed, you still work on them.
Okay, I'm just trying to relate Git
Mm.
with this versioning here.
It's the same
So
thing, right?
is it
In
the
Git,
same concept?
only
Mm,
if you're done with the code, you check in, right? You have that comments
mm,
to check
mm.
in.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
the same way, only after you're done, we push them. Otherwise, we don't push them. You keep it in your local repository and you keep editing, right? Same way, I keep it in my dev and I keep editing till I'm done.
Okay, so for example, we have separate branches like dev branch, UAT branch, and production branch. So something like that we do here also in Pega.
He- See, in Pega, there is nothing like dev branch, QA branch, and UAT branch. It's like servers only. See, dev URL is different, QA URL is different, UAT URL is different, like different, complete different machines, right? So on that, you will deploy. And how do you
Okay.
deploy? We have to extract the zip file and import the zip file in the other environment. So we extract the zips, ZAR files we take.
Okay. So code will always remain in the dev environment. Only the packages will be moved across other environments. Am I right?
And the package will contain code only. The packages contain code, right?
Mm, okay. Okay. Maybe I'll
No, even if you take Java or .NET, what are you doing? You do coding in dev, then you
mm,
extract the package, and the code is what is there in package, right? You deploy it to QA, UAT, and production.
mm, because we have separate branches, and after suppose to say if I'm working on a change request, and then after I complete this change request, I'll merge it with the UAT branch. All my changes I'll push it to the UAT branch,
Their
and
branch is nothing but an environment for you, right? It's a different server. Dev QA UAT will not lie on the same server machine, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As you
That
keep
is
doing,
we.
hmm,
Mm,
as you keep doing hands-on, you will understand more, and then you can,
okay. Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
I'm not able to visualize now. Yeah, maybe
Sure.
I'll
When we start
understand
the
more on.
practice, we will start creating multiple versions of each rule, and then you can, think of the things.
Mm,
Yes,
okay. Yeah.
Raghaveni, we don't deploy 99. It is considered as a dummy version. Just for trial and error, if you want to keep a rule in any higher version and try, we keep it in 99 and we do it. In no project, we deploy 99s. They are like dummies for us. Anybody has any other questions? So understand the importance of sequence, guys. Sequence matters a lot. Even if your code was done in recent time, but it is in a lower version, it will not be picked. Okay, so code should always be present in the higher version to get picked, and versions matter. And you can leave versions in between, or suddenly if you got a defect and you don't have any empty version, then that is okay. You can move this code to the next version and you can use this for the immediate release. Okay, so you can move the code. How to move the code and all, I will show you.
Hi Nikhila, Nagaraj here.
Yes, please. Yes, Nagraj.
Here in version secure, the 010103 was unlocked. That means what is the meaning
Locking
for
and
that?
unlocking, we are going to talk in the next few minutes. Okay, that's the
Oh,
next one. I'll cover it, Nagraj. I have a question in the
okay.
chat, guys. If I'm working on patch and like version 4, okay, and version 3 is also work in progress. If I'm done my pages, can I push it? Yes, of course. See, as I told you, like let's say version 3, version 4, version 5 are work in progress by three different developers. Okay, and all the three are planned for March release. If you're done with your development, you can push it. No need to wait. Okay, 05 is done before 03 and 04. You can push it. Where are you pushing it? To QA you are pushing, right? So that QA people can start testing, right? So you can push forward and backward till QA and UAT. But for production, all together have to go. Okay. And again, let's say, like 03, 04, 05 are work in progress. 05 is completed first. Okay, you can deploy it, no problem. Let's say 04 is completed first. Before that, you have 03 and you have again 05. If there are any rules which are dependent with 03 and 05, then it is a problem. Okay, if there's no dependency, you can happily push it, no problem at all. Only for production, I say the highest one should be the last deployment, the lowest one should be the first deployment. Okay, not till dev qa and qa and ut is okay, you can deploy it. And also make sure there's no dependency. If there is a dependency, let's say for example same rule is lying in 03 and 04, then it is a problem. If there is no same rules, you can deploy in any order. Only when you have same rules the problem will come, right? Like I have a screen, somebody is making changes in 03, I am also making changes on the same screen in 04, then it becomes a problem. Otherwise it's okay. Okay, now moving to the next one, that's about rule set locking. Okay, so do you see there's a lock symbol here? Everywhere there's a lock symbol and some of them are unlocked. So what is the difference between these two? See, it's like, let's say you're going out of town. Okay, what do? You lock your house, you lock the place where you keep all your gold and money in your safe lockers and all. You lock them. Why do you lock them? Because you don't want somebody to come and do anything with that. Same way here, once we are done with the coding, okay, and let's say I have some time for deployment, I don't want any other developer to come and mess up with my code. Okay, maybe for some reasons, they want to open my rule, they want to keep it in edit mode, they want to make some changes and they may spoil whatever I have done, or by mistake they can delete it, or anything can happen, right? So what we do is once we are done with the coding and we are planning to deploy the code, we log them. So if you expand this, you see an option called as lock and save, and you can give any password of your choice, anything you can give. But if you want to unlock it, you should remember that password. So generally in real time what we follow is, every team will follow a strategy. Go ask with your team what password should I give. Some people will give the story number, some people will give the rule set name, some people will give the version number, some people will give a generic company name. Like that, every people will have their own standard so that we remember the passwords. So go check with your team what password they follow and you have to give the same thing. So we log them giving a password. If you give the password and say submit, automatically this will be logged. Now, what is the benefit of locking it? No person can edit the rules, can delete the rules, can add new rules to this. Okay. So if it is locked, if you open any of these 6 rules, you can't edit them, you can't delete them. You can't keep anything in that version also. Any new rules in that version is also not possible. So that is locking. And we do it only after the coding is completed and we are planning to deploy it. We lock it so that nobody can touch that. So you can see it's locked. I can't make any changes. Okay. So that's the benefit of locking. And if you want to unlock, you can unlock, but you have to remember the password. And only locked rule sets we can deploy to QA UAT in production. If you leave it unlocked, we can't deploy. Deployment is not possible if you do not lock the rule sets. Okay. Any questions on rule sets and validation, application validation, rule set validation, or the importance of hierarchy in the application rule form?
While
Okay.
editing, this will not be logged, is it? I mean, while checking
Yeah,
in, or if you check out that rule set, particular rule set,
only if it
if
is
it,
unlocked, you can do editing. If it is locked, you can't do any editings.
okay,
It's locked, right? How can you do editing? You can't do. I mean, you'll not find a save button. See, whatever changes you want, you can make. But see, there's no save button. Save as means keeping in the next version. Save is not there. So that will be
okay.
present only if it is unlocked. See, if you see this one, maybe this is unlocked, you can find it. See, there's a
So,
save here, check out
hmm,
here. Check out is like you can make editing and all. That will not be visible in the locked rules.
okay. When it is unlocked, then only we can check out.
Right. You
If
can
I
check
checked
out and
out,
make
yeah, yeah,
changes.
yeah. If you check out, that lock will be present, right?
You will have the
If you
lock. So
check
first of
out
all,
that,
okay. First of all, let me tell everyone what is checkout and check-in. Guys, checkout means you're bringing it into editing mode. Okay. Check-in means you're done with your changes. You want to release the lock. Okay. Suppose Nikhila does a checkout on this rule. Then Nikhila is editing this rule and nobody can edit in parallel. Okay. Nikhila is done with her changes. She will say check in. Means Nikhila is done with the changes. She's releasing the lock. Now anyone can again acquire the lock and start working. So checkout means bringing under your control for editing. Check in means done with your changes, releasing it from your control so that any other person can take it and start working on it. Okay. So this is how it works. Yeah. Please go ahead if you have any other questions.
Nikhila, Rajesh here.
Yes, please.
So,
Yes.
let's just suppose I've logged, right? And the next time I come back, will that still be locked for me?
Of course, yes, yes. See, generally, if I'm working on any story for weeks and weeks, I'll keep that code in my checkout because I'm still working on it, right? And in parallel, generally, other people may not require. Just in case if they require, if they open the same rule, they will see a lock symbol here, and if they click on the lock symbol, it will tell it is currently being worked by Nikhila. So you can ping me and say, Nikhila, if you're done, let me know. I have to make some changes, and then I'll say, okay, let me check in for time being, and I can release the lock, and you can check out. So offline we both can discuss and we can do. So checkout you can keep for any as long as you want you can keep.
Sure, Nikhila. And what in case if we forget the password? I mean, is there a way for us to reset or something like that?
There is again you have to write some piece of code like I told you yesterday. How can we create bulk operators? Write a piece of code to create bulk operators. Similarly, if you forgot your password, end of the day all these passwords and all or everything is getting stored in the database, right? So we have to
Right.
write a piece of code to unlock it from the database level, to nullify the password in the database level. So we can do that.
Okay. Sure, Nikhila. Thank you.
Okay. So that's it for today, guys. We will talk about dependent applications and branches in the next session. Any other questions?
I just have a question.
Sure.
For individual rules, can we see like what is the edit history? Like what are the changes being done from different
Yes, you
versions?
can see. You can see there is something called as history. For every single rule, you can see the history.
And you
If
can
you click
also
on,
see like what was the change done for each one, is
if
it?
they write, you can see. If they don't write, you can't see. They have to write it. See, they have to write something here, and you can see what existed earlier and what is there. Like you can see the old copies. What is the copy on 9/10/2023? If you click on this, you can see this is how the rule looked on that day. Like you can
Hmm.
open the old copy and you can compare. Okay, like
Oh,
this you
okay.
can
So there is a
compare the old.
comparison. There is a comparison
There is
window
a
or something.
comparison, but it is actually not so clear. If you use this, it's not clear actually. It's not that effective.
Hmm.
So we are
Okay.
not using it.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Nikhila,
it's once again, it's the responsibility of the developer to write down what changes they made clearly. You will learn all these things as we keep moving further.
hmm. Okay, Nikhila, I just have a question. Suppose I'm making a change, and I see there is a, I mean, Pega also allows to write code and plug in or do some things, right? Like that, right? Like I can write a piece of Java code. So how does it
Right.
fit in? Does it also comes under this same rule set thing?
See, you can't write Java code. There is no special space to write Java code. So this is Pega's rule. You saw, right? This is a rule of Pega. So if you
Hmm.
want to write any piece of Java code, you just have to go here. Okay, this is a method Java,
Hmm.
and you have to write down this in this white space only. So you are inside the Pega rule. You are not creating anywhere outside.
So this will also be one of the rules.
Yes,
Okay.
it's this is
Yes.
a rule called as activity. Inside that you are writing Java. You will learn all that as we keep moving.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Please ask me questions only on the topics completed, guys. If you ask something new, like we will be going off track, and the other participants will not find the session interesting because you're talking something which they don't know.
Nikhila,
Sure, please.
hello.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Nikhila, even we are feeling the same, Nikhila. It
Mm.
is better we are having a Q&A session at the end of the session. It is better.
See, in
Why?
between
Because
the
yeah,
see,
why? Because most of the people are going off track while
yeah,
asking the
see,
questions.
right. That's what I request everyone. Don't go off track, but it in between I have to ask because bits and pieces I'm teaching, right? See, I have thought application stack, so I have to immediately ask if they have any questions. Rule set versions, I have to immediately ask if they have any questions. Otherwise, at the end, if I ask, they may forget. Okay, but I request not to go off track, guys. Let's not talk about check-ins and check-outs, branches. They're still on the way. Okay, I please park them. We will cover them as we keep moving. We will cover them. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Nicola, if you do save as locked rule set, so it will create the another version, you said, right?
In another version, you have to create, right? See, if you see 02
Um,
version is a locked version, and you have a lot of activities, a lot of code in this, but they're all logged, so no further modifications are possible. Whereas, if you want, you can keep it in another version, not 02, anything else you can use. You can see here any other versions. See, 03, 04, and 99 is coming. Why not 01 and 02? Because they are locked, right? You can't use them. Only the unlocked ones you can use. Locked ones we can't use. So that's the reason they are not coming here. In unlocked ones only you can create new rules, modify existing rules. In locked ones, no further changes are allowed.
okay, fine.
Then Nikhila, if locked on we are unable to change the rules, and actually we are doing to update to the previous version, right? Then how could we use
We
the
are doing save as, right? Save as,
okay,
and we make the changes.
okay,
Okay. So guys, next
okay.
Saturday we will start the practicals. I know, initially theory will be like Greek and Latin for you, little difficult for you, especially for those who think, Pega is no coding, it's quite easy. It may look like that. But as you start working, you will see the ease. Okay. Initially, because you don't know what is the rule set, what is a class, what is a version. I know you have to get aware of the environment where you're going to work. So once you start working, it becomes easy. All these things you start doing practically, right? Every day in the session, you will create a new rule and a new version. Again, you will keep it in the next version. So they become like, very easy for you. Initial days theory, right? So it may be little difficult, but as you keep working, after 15 days, Rule set versions, operators, access groups are like just like nothing for you because you keep doing them on day-to-day basis. You will not feel that difficulty. Okay. And Saturday we'll start the practicals. Next Friday you have session at 7 a.m. IST, guys. And by Saturday, please make sure you have the software installed. Okay. And Friday we'll have a session on class, object, enterprise class structure topics. So those who have access to previous batch recordings, please watch on these topics: ECS, enterprise class structure, and class and object. Okay. So that when we discuss on Friday, you will feel it little easy. So please make use of the previous batch recordings. Then that's the reason I gave you. So make use of them and be ready. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Any further questions, feel free to ask me in the
Hello.
WhatsApp group. Yes, Anusha.
I'm facing difficulty in downloading the Pega. So, will anybody will be there to help me?
Oh, are you not finding that download option, Anusha, or what is the problem?
Actually, I have done till the ending, but there is a database, something error is coming.
Installation
I
issue,
have kept
Anusha.
this.
Installation issue. Did you see the file that I have shared in the Google Classroom? That actually you have that error connecting to database error is coming. I saw your screenshot. So did you check the document which I have attached in the Google Classroom? It says about that
Actually, I did
database
not receive.
issues. You didn't receive, then where did
Just
you
now I
download the
forwarded
software?
you.
So how did you download the software then?
Actually, I have forwarded my mail to you just now. So you told that you will forward the
No, you
Google.
already started installing Pega, right? So where did you download the software from? Anusha, did you get my question?
Hello, hello,
Yes,
Nikhila.
Anusha, you're audible. Okay, Anusha, please correct. I'm sharing you the Google Classroom link. There you will find where in the software. Please download that software. I see that you already have access to Google Classroom, Anusha.
Yes, I
So
have,
from there only
Nikhila.
you
I thought
downloaded, right?
I did it, but I'm getting error in the last.
Yes, Anusha. So there is a document in Google Classroom, guys. Those who are done can drop off. Okay. There is a document in the end, right? Any database issues, please refer to this document. Check the document once.
Yes.
It's very much detailed. And also make sure that you
Okay,
should not have any other database in your machine. If you have any other database, then this issue will come. Or if you have any other version of Java, this issue will come.
Hi
okay,
Nikhila.
Nikhila. Today I'll try again. Can you please help me with that?
Sure, sure. Let me show you the document right away. You can use that. One second. Somebody has a question.
Actually, I forwarded that database.
Those who don't have any questions, you can drop off, guys. See here. See, database not opening. There's an issue. Okay, you can check this once. Other than that, yeah, let me even put that installation issue document. I'll put it here.
Okay, Nikhila.
This is for DB not opening, right? Yeah, this is after installation. Okay. Okay, I'll just give you the installation issues document. You can follow that. And also make sure
Okay.
you don't have any other database in your machine, right? Any other DB.
No, no, I don't have any other DB in my machine.
Okay. Okay, I'll just follow. I'll just give you the message. Any installation issues, what to do, I'll tell you. Just follow that. It should be resolved. It's just a DB issue in your machine.
Okay, okay, sure,
In
Nikhila.
yeah, in the same Google Classroom, you have material also. But however, for this batch, I'm configuring everything in the mobile app. I'll do it today and I'll share you. Yeah.
Okay,
Somebody
I
has a question.
actually I deleted everything. Okay.
Nikhila,
Yeah.
you have shared the document, right? In that, I am unable to open the zip file. No preview enable is coming like that.
One second.